I think when someone figures out how to design a layered narrative with rich characters and fulfilled themes without inhibiting gameplay, it will revolutionize the industry. And that person will become not only stinking rich, but a legend. Right now, what passes for narrative in gaming is far from true and engaging storytelling.
I don't give a damn, I don't really care. You talk way too much, I have heard enough about you and your problems. I don't give a damn, I don't give a damn, damn, damn. I don't give a damn, damn, damn. I don't give a damn, damn, damn. I don't give a damn, damn, damn.
This was a quote from an interview with Dean Koontz, author of the Odd Thomas series, on Game Rant back in 2010. You know, I do a lot of research for this channel on various topics, so I'm not even sure how or when I came across this article, but ever since I did, it's been running through my head. I mean, no particular beef with Mr. Koontz as an author, but this pompous attitude that is, for some reason, so consistent in novelists just makes me almost resent the field entirely. There's this attitude that novels are the last great art form, not to be sullied by mentioning in the same breath as film. God forbid, video games. So, you know what, Dean? Let's take a look at that slop that passes for narrative in gaming, because I think in just a deeper examination of a single level, not even that, 30 seconds of gameplay, I can undo your entire argument against this art form of gaming, and show you an art form that can offer a level of immersiveness and narrative opportunity that, unfortunately, written words rarely, if ever, could. This is BioShock Infinite, the third installment in the BioShock series that, as a whole, actually weaves a pretty deep narrative about human oppression and how that, more often than not, leads to a retaliatory oppression. You know, just a super shallow and definitely not relevant to society as art should be excuse for engaging in true storytelling. But we said we only needed a level, right? So we're not going to dive into the full series, not a full game, not even a full level. Just one scene. A single scene that occurs somewhere in the middle, what you could call filler area of the game. Up to this point, what's important to know is that you, Booker DeWitt, a private detective, have been hired to come to Columbia, an advanced society that exists in the sky thanks to a clever use of quantum physics. A theory that actually checks out under real-world scrutiny. You've been hired to come to Columbia to find a girl, Elizabeth, and bring her back to wipe away a mysterious debt that you've accumulated. And early on, when we arrive, it's important to note that this utopia is far more of a white nationalist society, in which people of color and the Irish populations have been relegated to the servant class, forced to live in the slums of the machines that keep them in the sky, unable to even see the outside, while the white citizens enjoy the lush surface. After several scripted events that continue to push you through the city's cultural norm, you eventually find this Elizabeth you've been looking for, and escape with her, narrowly evading the clutches of her guardian bird machine, the Songbird. But in doing so, you fall down into a vacation area of Columbia and need to find your way out, basically with the president's daughter.
My day with the president's daughter. My day with the president's daughter. Oh yeah.
As the scene begins, an ominous woman calls out Elizabeth's name. She knows her. She engages in a conversation, but then quickly disappears behind this gated turnstile, baiting you through. You see, this is something incredibly unique and beautiful to the storytelling achieved in games that you cannot even come close to in novels or films. If you're an attentive gamer, at this point, your spidey senses should be going off. You've been running away with
The president's daughter.
who all the while has been telling you about how she doesn't know anyone except the books she was around because she was essentially bred in captivity. And someone knows her here, and then heads off behind a fenced area luring you in. This can only be bad, right? And it's a classic storytelling technique called dramatic irony, where the audience has information that the characters do not.
You're the Prowler?
Allowing a scene to play out with an underlying tension caused by the truth known by the audience but not by the characters. Except in gaming, the tension of this experience is uniquely amplified by the simple fact that you are both the audience and the character. We understand as viewers the dangers lying ahead, but as a character, we essentially have to be willing participants to advance the story. In a book or a movie, the tension is built through the same type of pacing, foreshadowing, and dramatic irony, but the relief and increase of that tension is not up to the individual viewer's control. Sure, you could stop reading or stop watching, but that tension is going to increase to a fixed point and relieve at a fixed point. Whereas in a video game like this, we become the operators of our own destiny, meaning we get to experience these unique moments through storytelling where we are both saying, "No, don't go in there," and simultaneously knowing we must go in there. And if you weren't tipped off already by this lady, who I'm definitely voting to throw out of the ship, then meet your shoeshine man on the other side of the gate. Nothing wrong here though, right? Just a working class man shining shoes of a customer. Except if you've been paying attention at all up to this point, you should realize something is wrong. This is a white man doing a job that this society would most definitely relegate to a person of color based on every other employee, not just in the area, but the city. Then when you head up the stairs, you pass by another white man doing custodial work. But hey, maybe this is just where they put the white people they don't really like to work, right? Then as you reach the top of the stairs, you hear this really strange interaction with a hot dog vendor and a customer.
Have you got sauerkraut?
Sauerkraut? I guess so.
I'll take, one, please. How much?
One Silver Eagle.
The vendor only says $1 when clearly marked on the sign is the price of hot dogs, $2. Why would he purposefully undercut his profits? Well, I mean, that was rhetorical. Clearly, this is all one big setup and he's not actually set to make any money off that stand. Nor is Boney Bob over here looking to pay for or eat that hot dog, sauerkraut or not. So by the time we get to the counter here to buy tickets for the airship to get out of Columbia, our suspicions should be absolutely maxed out. And as you arrive at the ticket taker, we're given one last hint of this ambush right before a choice that will stick with you the rest of this game is presented.
I'll ring you back once the matter's in hand.
I don't like this.
Yeah, send in the bird. We're ready to execute.
If you've accurately assessed the situation you've walked into and choose to pull your gun, you can walk away from this fight unscathed. But if you try to be diplomatic, well...
Excuse me, can I get some help here?
Certainly, sir. Sorry about the wait!
What are you doing? Get the girl! Get off of me! In this calculated use of environmental storytelling to foreshadow this ambush, we can see one of the many tools at a game developer's disposal when it comes time to tell their story. A tool that, contrary to Mr. Kunt's belief, can provide a layered and rich narrative whose gameplay is not inhibited by a narrative because the gameplay is the narrative. In fact, at its root, these are similar tools used for other forms of storytelling, like murder mystery novels, where the true narrative is putting together the pieces to discern the truth from the lies within the characters. And the same is true for a more modern form of storytelling known as an ARG. And yes, I know I'm arguing with a 10-year-old article, and while Dean Koontz would likely change his opinion upon a first play of any number of groundbreaking games from the past decade, I think this argument still remains true as we enter a world with more formats available to tell your story than ever before. There are bound to be those who will try and convince you that there's a certain medium that's better than another, or more true to storytelling than another. But that's all bullshit, because every medium has its own strengths and weaknesses when it comes to telling a story, and you'll see it time and time again as artists dip their toes into the waters of new emerging mediums. Formats don't make an unforgettable story. Great writers do. A huge shout out to Sydney S. She supported the channel at the highest tier available on our Patreon. A giant thank you to her. She's also our Discord mod over on Nerd Fiction's Discord, so go check that out if you haven't, and subscribe if you want to see all of the amazing stuff coming at you in 2021. I'm gonna be making a lot more for the channel than I ever have. Be ready.